Hello, 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 ladies. Hello. I still have not got my theme music, but it is Women to Work Wednesday. And I am so especially excited today because today is National Nurses Day. Yay! Thank you to all those nurses who are out there keeping our country and world going during this time. Oh my goodness. We can't keep going without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you were able to swing by some of the restaurants that were getting free donuts today. I thought that was pretty awesome. And coffee. So, but with that, I've got even more exciting news than Nurses Day, ladies. Today, we're talking about working from home with our powerhouse VP of Dress for Success, Greater Orlando, Lena Graham Morris. Yay! We're so excited to have you here, Lena.
Thank you, Renita, for having me today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow. I mean, Lena is the person to talk about working from home. Let me just give a little bit of her bio. I mean, she has been an entrepreneur for a long time. She comes from a legacy of entrepreneurs. And with that, she started her own company, The Entreprenista. But alongside with that, she is working in a family business on chain of command to be the next leader in charge, has secured millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in that venture, but also has been a strong nonprofit executive through the years. And with that, has been in the office, out of the office, working from a Starbucks or on a set, has also had a strong entertainment background as well. So all of those worlds have given her different environments that she's had to work in through the years. It's one thing for us to be in the office every day, see our coworkers, see our boss, give them a hello in the morning, touch base in the hallway as we're going to lunch. But when you're not in the office, it's very different. So, Lena, I wanted to get a few tips from you on how do you do that effectively working from home? The new WFH.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, thank you, and yes, to the happy nurses. Thank you so much for recognizing our first responders.
Absolutely.
You know, I have been successful in working from home for quite a while, several years, and it is become second nature to me. And so here are some of the tips that have helped me. The first thing is you've got to still act like you're going to work and going to the office, right? So we can get comfortable with working from home, like, oh, I'm going to get up, stay in my PJs, I'm wandering around, make some coffee. No, you need to stay on routine. You need to get up, you need to get dressed, so that you can still feel the part, right? And you need to create that routine for yourself. Then you've got to have a dedicated work area because, especially now with what we're going through with all the virtual interactions, there's so much video conversations and so forth. And to be truly engaged, you need to be able to get on the video and speak to people, since we're kind of making up from the face-to-face and interactions. And so you need to have a dedicated area. You need to make sure that we can't control the bandwidth, we can't control the internet, but you need to make sure
Yeah.
that your technology, your computer up to date, your printers, that you have, a good internet speed so that you can function like you were in the office, because it's things like that that will throw you off. And I don't have children, but here's my fur baby for a moment. Okay, look at that. She was quiet the whole time because that's one of the things I was going to tell you. You're going to have to lock up your children and your puppy. Okay, she's going out. And that's live TV. Okay, so 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 you have to have the space,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be willing, see, and willing to pivot. So
That's
funny.
working from home at its best.
It's best. Okay. So, but husband took care of it, so we're back on track. Right. So then you have your space, you have your printer, because it's things like that. When you go to try to print things up, when you go to try to get on your computer and you can't, that'll throw you off. So you need to have all of that secured and together. And I know some people say, okay, I don't have, the room to have a dedicated space, but there's so many ways that you can be creative now. I've seen so many different people, even barn doors or dividers, or
Mm-hmm.
some type of pop-ups, but just an area to give you the space where you're in that mental zone to be ready to work. So have a routine, get up and behave like you're going to work. Don't
Yes.
roll around in your pajamas and want to stay in bed. It's tempting for everyone. And so on those
Yes.
days that happens, you have to also create, okay, what am I going to do to motivate myself
Mm-hmm.
when I feel like I just don't want to do it. And so, you know, um, getting up, going for a walk, having an accountability partner that you can say, hey, I'm struggling today. I'm don't feel like going down into my work, home office or so forth. Those things always help. But those are a few tips that I would give right off the bat. I would also say, Renita, that we have to, as women, be up on the technology, right? So, you
Mm-hmm.
the webinars are going on, and if we're going to be leading meetings or a part of meetings, we've got to be feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
to get onto the technology, to launch the technology, to be able to interact with it. There was
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful article about the best tips for working with a webinar. So some of the things that they said was, make sure that you adjust your camera, frame your face, make sure it's eye level, make sure you clean your camera, make sure that you avoid using a virtual background if you don't have the capacity on your computer. Adjust the lighting in your room so that people can see you. We've all been on calls where it looks like shadows and it's hard to make out
Mm-hmm.
individual. And it's so important that you have that clear line of sight when you're on video, because you already could interpret, you know, movements or body language for something.
Mm-hmm.
Want to be really, really clear. Make sure that your microphone is working, right? How many times do we get on a call and maybe we didn't test our microphone ahead of time, and then you have a technology problem. So those are things, just also as women, we really want to make sure we can take the lead, and especially if we're leading meetings and or an active part of a meeting, that we're in touch with the technology, we understand the technology, and we become one with the technology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one of the key things that you just mentioned was about having dedicated space. My goodness. I remember when I was in an apartment and I needed dedicated space. And at that time, I was freelancing from my home and we had no space. It was my husband, myself, and my brand new baby. And I had to just take like a coat closet and just say, I got to put a desk in here, make this a dedicated space that I can kind of put my chair in and kind of zone in and be like, I'm at work. Um, that even happened as recently as when the pandemic happened. My husband and I, because I had my own office at work, I did not really have a dedicated office at home. We shared an office space. Well, when we're both here working full time, that does not work.
Right.
So we decided, hey, we've got some
Different.
space. Let's
Yeah.
reconfigure the house in a different way. Have your space downstairs. He has his space upstairs, and it's so much better. Um, and so I encourage anybody who's just now getting into the home office environment, check out Pinterest. They've got like loads of ideas on how you can do it in the closet, how you can configure sometimes your dining room. Maybe you're bringing out a box from a closet or something, and you're putting your box and having your laptop set up, and you're saying, okay, I'm working. And then I take that off, and then it's ready for dining again. So those types of things to kind of get you thinking on how can I flex my house in and out of work.
Right. Correct.
Another key thing was, oh my goodness, technology. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all have been on the calls over the last month of someone who it is the first time of them using some of the platforms that we're
Right.
now using for video conferencing. And that is fine. We all have to start from somewhere, but there's so many trainings online. Wouldn't you say, Lena, that someone could plug into?
Absolutely. I mean, you can Google is our friend. You can Google anything. You can go on YouTube and find tutorials. Generally, I mean, there are tutorials on the actual sites. I know I've been using Zoom almost since its inception, and what I started to do was create a kind of a fact sheet for individuals if I were going to have them come on and it may be their first time, just so they don't even have to feel apprehensive. Say, hey, logging on to Zoom. So now everyone is using it, but prior there was still a lot of folks that weren't familiar. So just giving a cheat sheet, that's again understanding your technology, and if you're leading the meeting, then making other folks comfortable. I do want to say too, Renita, that working remote or working on the road is also a little bit more challenging, which I have my share of that as well when I go to our different offices. And there you have it again. Working from home. Um, so when I go to our different offices, then I kind of have my setup. I got with our IT person and got a setup so that it was easier to carry things across the board. So I mean, you have your laptop, which can be bulky. What is something sleek that wherever I am, I can set up and then I can have access points. And so that can be a little different too. So some folks are still now they're going back to doing some traveling, working from home, and then maybe doing some traveling. And so taking that into consideration too, and taking into consideration if you're working from a Starbucks, right? So let's talk about that. You mentioned that if you decided now that you want to, since they're opening things up, I think there are some places where you can still now sit in and work out of again. So make sure you get a quiet space. Make sure you get a space and you test the bandwidth of the Wi-Fi, because sometimes free Wi-Fi can kind of take you on and off. Those are things to look at. And every network has where you can have a hotspot on your phone, and you may want to use that. That's been helpful for me during travels or setting up somewhere.
Awesome. And so, have you found it helpful? How do you set your work from home routine? Now we're not commuting, so you don't have to get up at, whatever time you were getting up to say I had an hour commute. Now you have that hour back, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to be on a call. Yes, we all have those moments.
Yeah. So I'm a big stickler of the look ahead and so knowing what's going on for the next several days and planning off of that. The other thing that I've started to do, and this is just personally, so we plan when we wake up, but we don't plan when we go to sleep, right? We just kind of say, oh, I'm going to eventually get in the bed. But so knowing that, hey, I know I need enough sleep, let me start winding down at this time, putting on some music, meditate and so forth. And understanding when your meetings are, that hour that you had to commute, use it maybe to get up and meditate, maybe take a walk. That's what I've started to do. Just take a walk in the morning, just to get out, see, some fresh air, hear the bird. I didn't know that the birds chirp. I hadn't stopped to listen to the birds in years. I got up the other day.
Wow.
And do they always do this? Are they always like making noises?
I will say that since we're all not commuting, we've now this week kind of gotten back to more cars on the road, but the air was cleaner, and I did feel like there was more kind of a wildlife happening as strolling in the neighborhood. So yes, and I think we can contribute to that there was just less pollution in the air for the last few weeks.
Absolutely. And so we should take advantage of it. And I do that so I'm a workaholic and I know that about myself. So I will stay in this office from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and I can't do that. That's not good.
Mhm.
That's not healthy either. So I have to train myself, to stop and also to take time to get up every hour. Like, so I time block. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but I like to kind
Yeah.
of focus and hone in on specific items. So I generally do a brain dump in the morning or the night before. It's more
Okay.
do it the night before so that when you get up, you already know exactly what you're doing. So I do a brain dump every week on Monday morning and then at the end of the evening. And basically it's going back through to see what was I trying to get accomplished today? Who was I trying to contact? What were my milestones, deliverables, so forth? Okay, where am I lacking? What do I need to push to the next day? And already having that laid out and prioritizing. So when you wake up, it's not surprise, you got to do this. You pretty much,
Mhm.
as you wake up, you're centered and you know this is what I have to get done, and you continue to take that through the week.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that's a great tip. I think, especially a lot of the times I'll do that at the beginning of the week, but I like that at night. What did I get accomplished to set you up for the next day for success? I think that also helps with some of our sleeping issues
Yes,
may be occurring as well as getting our mind totally free before resting.
absolutely, because it kind of lets you saw already know where I'm going tomorrow. And going back to the time blocking, it's you basically, some people do it in 60-minute or 90-minute increments, but I'm all in for that point of time. Even a lot of times I won't even check my phone, and I'm all
Mhm.
in working on that, and then coming up from that, taking a moment, checking phone, so forth, getting up, walking around, hydrating,
Mhm.
I said meditating several times during the day, because being in the house, let's just be realistic, you can go stir crazy, cat fever.
Right.
So you just have to kind of know yourself, know what is good for you, what motivates you. And I can't even emphasize how much having that accountability partner, or even that person who will make you laugh throughout the day. So there are several people that I know that if I call them, if I'm having a moment, I have my advisors that I can call and I
Uh-huh.
bridge, right? And then I have those people that I can call and say, hey, what's going on? And it's just light. You have a laugh. You kind of regroup, rejuvenate, and just jump
Mhm.
back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think for our ladies who are now working from home or considering working from home positions in a new role that they may be considering, I can't tell you the amount of new jobs that have come across my desk over the last week that said working remotely. The other thing is, I've seen in the news over the past week, companies are downsizing in terms of the spaces that they're acquiring, such as Nationwide Insurance shut down many office buildings across the country and said, you know what, we're just going to have people work from home. We're going to keep these key corporate headquarter locations, maybe, but all of these satellite offices, those people will be remote going forward. So my question is, um, when we're working from home, we've got how to set our environment up, how to set our schedule, but how should I react with my team? I might be all day grinding on something, meeting with people, but I haven't touched base with my boss. How do I make sure that I'm still getting the visibility with my leadership when I'm remote?
So I think that understanding the who you work for and who you are very important, and the communication style. So I've seen several things work. I know with my team members, we have a touch base at the beginning of the week, and I have week reporting where I have them tell me what are your priorities that you're working on, and
Mhm.
then we meet again if we need to meet on specific projects, and then they submit those reports. And so for me, that's a tangible way to say, okay, this is how I see where your progress is. I don't have to monitor you. I don't have to be, on the phone with you all the time. And another thing is being very clear about your schedule, because the worst thing is having some confusion. So if someone is trying to reach you and you're remote, the tendency is human nature to think that someone is not maybe on task a lot faster than if you're actually in the office with them. And so be clear that communicate your schedule. So even with my team, and colleagues that I'm working with, I'll be clear and tell them, so listen, I'm time blocked for this project all the way until 2. I won't be checking my phone, but once an hour, I'm taking lunch, and then I'm open from 3 to 5. So that open communication. But there's still going to be some leaders that want to see and they tend to micromanage no matter what. And so in those cases, I just encourage being as transparent as you can. You know what I'm saying? And they just really want to act up today, Renina. So being as transparent as you can, and just say, hey, this is what my schedule is. This is what I'm doing. And it is what it is. You just, communication is the key. And I think meeting and getting that visibility on a regular basis is really key.
And I just want to add a couple things that I've found successful working remotely is sometimes it's still a new thing for your leader. And so it's okay to manage up and say, hey, I just want to put, weekly touch base on the calendar for us, 3:30 on Thursday. So that person knows if we haven't talked all week, but 3:30 on a Thursday, we're going to get together and talk. So it doesn't feel like sometimes human nature is, it'll just come through our mind and say, oh, I haven't talked to Lena since like last week. But if that touch base is on your calendar, they know that, okay, I am going to talk to Lena on Thursday.
Right. And that's why I was saying, like, the department updates, make sure it makes a world of difference to get out in front of it. Mm-hmm. I just think that it really, whether you're in leadership or whether you are reporting to someone, it doesn't matter. We're all leaders in the fact that we can make a difference. And so communicating and getting in front of things. And sometimes, you keep in mind that leaders get busy, right? There's a lot going on. So they appreciate when you reach out and say, hey, I have customers that will tell me, like, hey, I haven't talked to you. Can we, make sure that we get 30 minutes for a huddle on, every Friday or every Tuesday? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I didn't know that you wanted to do that. Wonderful. In addition to, our general department updates. So never hesitate to reach out and communicate.
Yes, absolutely. This has been a great conversation. But before we close out, ladies, if there's any questions that you have, please put them in the chat. If you're not comfortable with asking your question in the chat, please know you can always direct message us and we will get back to you after the live show. So before we close out, this has been just a time of change, great change. And so I'm always asking our show guests, what are they doing during this time to better themselves? So what are you doing?
So really, I am taking time with my health, right? I'm actually working with a plant-based coach for transitioning into more of a plant-based eating. Awesome. Shireen Smith, she's been wonderful. Okay. And so I am taking that time to do that because I was so I would be huddled away from home. And then I would be on the go. So it'd be like 80-20. And when I was 20, I would go. And, so it just takes time to kind of get in the routine on how can I be healthy at home and on the road.
Awesome. We do have a question. Do you have any tips on staying motivated while working from home?
I think your environment is everything. It's that dedicated workspace. I mean, make it something that you like. Even if you can't have a full room, make whatever space it is something that it's just your vibe, it's your flow. I mean, I have motivational plaques and quotes up everywhere. I listen to music while I'm working, and really putting myself in a place where I feel positive going into it. And so you're just really knowing yourself and what makes you tick, right? What makes you happy, what makes you vibrant, and setting up your space to be around it. I just recently, I got some fresh flowers. I wanted to add some color. And so all of those things in the environment have a lot to do with it. And I think that, again, getting that accountability partner, so someone who you can bounce things off, because realistically, you're not going to be motivated every day 100% of the time. You're not. So getting someone who you can talk to, bounce things off of, and you can encourage each other is very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I keep my essential oil. I have it here, my lemongrass, keep it smelling
Yeah.
good and inspiring. Um, on my commute to work, I would do a lot of podcasts and inspirational messages. So keeping that same practice here at home, plugging in to that. Also having more time for my reading has helped as well on staying motivated, where I'm able to apply some of the things that I'm reading and learning from my readings. So that is great. Thank you for your question. Well, we're at 30 minutes. This always goes so fast. I can't believe it. We've got to bring you back on. Lena, you have so much experience that you'll be able to give our ladies a lot of tips and tricks on a lot of different things. So we'll have you back very soon. But thank you so much for your time. And ladies, we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.